So here we are done with a lot of things, and we learned about how Selenium works on page source, and we understood the page source, right? And we were done with tag and attribute matrix and a lot of other things. We understood how we can retrieve elements on the page and how we can say work with those. We tried sending data through the element, right? And we did not do anything else. So let us just move forward and let us just learn other things. Now here, suppose if you go to the same page, that is, let me just close this tab, it is not needed. So here, if we go to facebook.com once again, and okay, so they are giving me the new page now. Okay, so over here, what if I would want to, I don't want to say get to this element, neither I want to get to this element, but there is something that I would want to go to, that is this forgotten account link, right? So let us just analyze this. Now here, if you see this link, you would notice something. There is no class, there is no name, there is no ID, right? So how would we be able to click on this particular forgotten account link? Okay, now the thing is that with the methods that we have learned yesterday, we will not be able to click on it, right? So the question is how, right? So there is something known as, just a second. So there is something known as XPath that we would be using, right? So the question is, what is XPath? XPath is address of a element on the page, right? Now what kind of address and what is that, what is address, right? The same way we have addresses. For example, suppose I'm staying in some city, right? And I'm staying in some house number, say house number is 111, and say the city is say XYZ, right? Or you can say that the locality is XYZ, city is ABC, and say province is say XYZ once again, or XY, right? Then I have my zip code or pin code, say 123456, right? So this is the address with which you would be able to locate me, and you would be able to say talk with me, or you would be able to send things to me, right? So this is the location where you would be able to find me actually, right? So over here, in the same way, we have addresses of elements on the page, right? Now how do we see that? So this is our tag and attribute thing, right? This is our page source. Now let me just open it in a separate window, right? So over here, now you guys can see that there is some there are few things: HTML, head, body, div, then form, div. What are these things? These are the tags and its structure, right? Now every element has a location, right? Now if it appears on the page like this means that it has been kept somewhere, and as a result of that we are able to see it here, right? This means that this is that structure, right? Now over here I would like to have address of this particular element, that is anchor tag hyperlink reference this which has the text forgotten account, right? Now how would we be able to understand that where it is? So basically this element is located inside HTML tag, right? And then in HTML tag we have two different tags. First one is head, second one is body. So this tag is definitely inside body tag. Now inside body there may be different tags, and the tag that we have, that the element that we need is inside this div tag, right? Then inside this div tag, we have multiple div tags. So we need the second div tag, and the structure goes on like this, right? And ultimately we reach to the part where we have this element, right? Now, XPath, right? How would we be able to have the XPath, and what is the XPath of this particular element? Now let us just discuss about the XPaths first. XPaths are of two types. First one is complete XPath, right? We call it, say, absolute XPath as well, right? So there are two names for this. No need to worry that if you see the absolute XPath name somewhere, what is it? No need to worry about it. It is the same thing that we say have over here, in that is complete XPath, right? What is the next thing then? The second type is, say, the partial one, right? We call it relative XPath as well. Now let us just first discuss about the complete or absolute XPath. So what is it and how it works? So complete XPath is something, as the name says, the complete one, right? From beginning to the ending, right? For example, to get to this element, we need to get to this element first, right? So let us just try generating XPath now, right? Remember that we need to get to this particular element, that is forgotten account, right? Now on this page, let me just first increase the font size of this particular text so that you guys would be able to read it more clearly. Now it is visible now, right? Now I'll hit Control F. Control F would allow me to find the elements on the page. Okay, now see, our goal is to reach this particular point, right? Which point? Let me just highlight it here, right? So say this point, okay? So here, let me just highlight this particular element. Okay, now over here, how would we be able to do that? So we need to get to this particular element first. So we would be getting to the head tag, then we would be moving on to the other things, right? So let us just start now. So here, what we would be doing is, first thing first, we have the HTML tag. So /HTML, right? Now we have got to the HTML, right? The tag is getting highlighted. This means that this is the element that we have with us right now. Now inside HTML tag, we have two tags. Notice it clearly, two tags, head and body. We need to get inside the body tag. So /body, right? Now inside body tag, we have multiple tags. We have a script tag, we have a div tag, there are another div tags as well. So we need to get inside this div tag, right? So over here, /div, right? Now we are inside this div tag. Now here, if we notice something, we need to get inside the second div tag, not the first one. But if I specify like this, /div, we get to access the first one, right? So what is the issue, right? Now let us just do one thing. Let me just remove the /div, and let's see for the other div tags as well. So in the body tag, we had multiple div tags, but by default, it accessed the first div tag. Now if you notice it over here, there are two div tags. Now the thing is that how would you be able to specify that which div tag you need, right? With the help of square brackets and the number, I would be able to specify that I specifically want this element, right? So over here, if I specify div1, this means that the first occurrence of div tag is required by me. And you can notice it over here on the right part. You can see 1 of 1. This means that this is the element that we have with us, right? Let us just expand it. Now we need the second div tag. We are clear of it over here. So /div square bracket 2. Done, right? Now then we need this div tag. So are there any other div tags? Yes, there are. So we would be specifying /div 1, right? Now this is done. Inside this div tag, there is only one div tag. So we don't have to worry about it. /div, right? Now inside this div tag, here you can see there is only one div tag. So again, we can simply specify /div, right? Inside this particular div tag, do we have another div tag? So there is again one. So they are going with step by step, and here there is another div tag, right? Now we have got to this particular point where we can see the second div tag is the tag that we need. So I won't be going and analyzing that there are more div tags or not. I'll simply specify /div then number 2, because I know that the second div tag is the tag that we need, right? And there are no other say div tags available over here, right? So over here you can see that 1 of 1, this means that we are going in the right direction. Then div, how many divs are there? There is only one. For the next step, there are two div tags. So div/div1, this is what we need, div/div1, right? I just jumped two things. Notice it over here. I got to the div tag which was only one, that is this was the only one div tag here. Then inside this we had say multiple div tags, so I specified the first one. Right now we are at this location where we have the form tag. So /form, right? Now we are inside the form tag. Now what is the element that we need? We need the div tag which has the anchor tag, right? But there are multiple tags. There is input tag, div tag, then input tag, then div tag again, then div tag again. So we need to deal with div tags, and this is the third div tag which we need. So /div, and let us just specify the number. We are here, then /a. Now this is the XPath of the element that we need, right? So over here, let us just copy this and let us just try clicking on this element. So I'll go back to the Selenium, and here what I'll do is I'll create a new package, and here we would be creating a new class. See, notice something. I'm not creating a package separately. What I'll do is I'll specify the package name here. This is day 5, right? So this is done. Now I can specify the thing that is the name, right? And say this is XPaths, right? And I'll click on finish. So over here I have clicked on finish. Now XPaths.java has been added. We can work on it. We need the main method first, so let us just have the main method. Now here what we would be doing is we would be initializing the browser first. So WebDriver driver equals to new Chrome driver or Firefox driver. Let us just go with Chrome driver right now. It works faster for me. In case if it starts causing me trouble, I will be shifting to Firefox. All the browsers work exactly the same way. Say Chrome or say Firefox does. So no need to worry that you would be getting separate results in Firefox and Chrome. No. The way we execute things are exactly the same. The way we see the pages are also exactly the same. The only difference is the browser name and how they render the pages. Okay. So over here, this is done. Browser has been initialized. Next thing is getting to the page. So driver dot get, and where do we want to get to? So that is https www.facebook.com, right? Now we have got to facebook.com. What's next? So the next thing is over here, say looking up for that element, right? So what is that element? The element is this forgotten account. Where we have the XPath, this is where we have the XPath. Now let us just have this XPath and I will keep the copy of this XPath somewhere, where let us just create a new text file here. So new file, and I'll name this file as XPath, right, dot txt. So there is a difference between txt and Java file. We can have two files with the same name. The extensions should be different. Now here, this is the XPath that we have got, right? Now what I'll do is I'll go back to the code, and here I will try to locate the element. Now what we usually do, we specify web element and then we go forward. Now I won't be specifying this line. Why to waste two lines of code when we can do the work in single line? Now the question is how, right? It is simple. Simply write driver dot find element by, and this time the mechanism is XPath. So make sure that you specify the correct mechanism, and here you have provided the XPath that you have copied, right? Now element has been found. Just simply perform the action you would want to do. I would like to click. I'll click. So I'll go with click. Right now, the single line would be finding the element and clicking on that element in one go. Then the question that would come into your mind is, why we needed that web element part? Now the thing is that that is needed wherever we have to reuse that element, right? Now how to reuse? This means that we may need to perform multiple operations on that element, right? So in case if we do that, what we have to do is that we just need to use web element interface and say declare a variable, right? Now we don't need that, so why to waste extra lines of code? We'll simply write this and we are done. Now let us just try running this code. Okay, so it will take a little bit time and we would be able to see the result in some time. So over here it is executing, and here the page has changed. Let us just rerun this code. So over here we would be trying to run this code once again. And this will not work. So let us just do one thing. Let us just try generating the XPath once again, because they are giving us the older screen now, right? So let us just inspect this. And here, what is the element? The element is clearly over here, that is forgotten account, right? So forgotten account, this is the element, right? We need to generate the XPath once again. Let us just quickly generate the XPath. Okay, or let us just move forward and we'll try generating XPath for this element later on. What I'll do is I'll take some other website which does not change, say rediff.com. They don't usually change the pages, so you can try out things over here. This is easy as well. Okay, and this is also a vast variety of things. You get to see a lot of things over here. Now I would like to get to this rediff.com link, right? Right click, inspect, and here this is the element. It does not have any name or say ID involved. How would I be able to get to know? We would be using XPath. So Control F. Now the XPath is pretty simple over here. /HTML, right? Then / over here. You can see that it starts giving us a lot of suggestions on this page. So we would be getting inside body tag, right? So body, done. Now here inside this body tag, we have to get inside the first div tag. Now there may be more div tags, and there are a lot of tags. So let us just go with div1, right? We have got to this. Now we need the first if tag again, so div 1. We need the first if tag again, so forward slash div 1, then first if tag once again, so forward slash div 1, and then in the ending forward slash a. So we have got to this particular element that we need, right? And you can see that the element has got highlighted as well. I can try clicking on it, right? So what I'll do, I'll first copy this URL and I'll specify it here. Next thing is I need this XPath. I'll keep a copy of it here, and here this is done. Now I'll use this particular XPath here as well, right? So over here, this is the XPath forward slash HTML div 1 div 1 div 1 div 1 and then anchor tag. Let us just run this code. The browser would open, it would be taking us to rediff.com, say login page, and then we would be able to see the element getting clicked, right? So this is the page, and you can see that now it has taken us to the rediff.com home page, right? So this is what we wanted to see and this is what we wanted to have as well, right? Now let us just do one thing, go back to the sign in page, and here on the sign in page I would try retrieving this forgot password link, right? Right click, inspect, and here the same plain old way, right? Inspect this once again. So this is the thing, the same plain old way. Now the thing is, I'm generating some XPath. Do you have to generate the XPath, right? Actually no. So whenever you're dealing with the XPath, which is a complete XPath, you don't have to generate it yourself. Right click, go to copy, then you have the option copy full XPath. Just go with it, right? Control F and you would find this is the XPath generated by it. We can simply use it, right? No need to worry that what would be the XPath. It will generate the XPath for you, right? And over here, now what we would be doing is we would be trying to click on that element instead of going to the home page, right? So I will change the XPath here. This is done. Now let us just try running this code. Okay, so over here the code is executing. It will be taking a little bit time, and then we would be able to see whether the things are working fine or not, right? And over here you can see that it has done the thing that we wanted it to, right? This means that it is able to locate the elements, right? Now let us just try with Facebook page as well now. So facebook.com, I hope so I get this page. Yeah, right click, inspect. See what happens, sometimes it does not take us to the element over here, so no need to worry. Go to the element and right click, inspect once again, right? You have this particular part, right click here, go to copy and then copy full XPath. This is the option that you have to choose and you would be able to say deal with it, right? Now over here we have got the XPath. Now let us just try running this. What I'll do is, instead of changing things here, I'll comment out these two lines, right? And here I would specify the line here. So driver dot get, what is the URL? So that is https www.facebook.com, right? And then that driver dot find element line. So driver dot find element by XPath. What is the XPath expression? This is what we have copied. Go with it, right? So over here we have found the XPath of the element. We have found the element. Now I'd like to click on it, right? Now let us just run this code, and over here let us just close the older window, say browser instance. We don't need. Okay, So over here the browser is opening. It will be taking a little bit time. Once done, you can see that it has clicked on forgotten account. This means that we are able to deal with the things. The only problem we faced was Facebook changed the page that we analyzed, right? So sometimes they're giving us the newer version of the page, sometimes they're giving us the older version of the page. That's it, right? Now over here this part is done. Let us just close this. Now the next thing, that is, can we have different other types of XPaths? Let me just refresh this page. We won't be getting this page as frequent as the way we are getting it right now. Okay, they're giving us this page. Let me just open in a new tab, and here facebook.com. okay, they're giving me this page on this particular session. Better if I open the page here. Let us just wait for a few more seconds for the page to open. Great, we have got the older page, right? Now over here, let me just go back and say, let us just see the other things now, right? So right click here, go to inspect on the element. Now this is the element we dealt with earlier as well, right? That is this username field. So if I get its XPath, if I go to copy and copy full XPath, I would be getting the full XPath of this element. So over here, if I paste it, I'm getting this particular element, right? Now the thing with full XPaths, these XPaths are simply unreliable, right? Now why am I saying this thing? I just taught you something, but I'm saying that these XPaths are unreliable. Why? The reason is that pages are dynamic these days, right? And you may have noticed something. Facebook changed their page, right? We are getting two different versions of the page, new and old, right? So over here, in that case, if we use this XPath, this simply fails, right? Now this means that here the second type of XPath comes into limelight, that is, say, the complete XPath, sorry, the partial XPath, right? So partial XPath, then what is a partial XPath? Let us just see that. Now in case if we analyze this element, this is the element which is highlighted, and you right click over here, right? So what you get to see, you get to see another option as well, that is copy XPath. So if you choose this option, and if you get to see this particular XPath that you have copied, you would see that this is the XPath we have got, right? Now what does this XPath mean? So it has few things that tell us that this would be getting to this particular element only. Let us just go back and check. So Control F, Control V, we are getting this element highlighted over here. Now let us just move to the latest version of the same page as well. Control Shift I, we are into developer tools, Control F, then Control V, and you would find the same element getting highlighted on a different version of the page, right? The full XPath would be different, but here the thing is that this partial XPath is not that different, right? So over here, this means that this is more reliable. Now I would use this particular XPath, right? So what I'll do is, instead of clicking on this element, I'll try retrieving the element. So driver dot find element by XPath, right? And the XPath expression is this. But if you notice something over here, we have got the XPath, but there are few other things that got added, right? A backslash, what is this? Let us just go back to this XPath and notice it over here. Now what happens is that this is the same character we use for starting and ending of the data, right? This means that we cannot use it here. There are two ways of getting rid of this issue then. First one is using a backslash and then this say quote, or there is another way. In XPaths, instead of double quotes, we can use a single quote directly as well. We don't need to escape this. This character, that is single backslash, is a escape character, right? Now let us just go back and provide the single quote instead of double quotes, right? So that we get to understand the XPath easily. I'll change this XPath over here as well. Chrome always generates XPaths with double quotes. Make sure that you change them yourself, right? So over here, this is done. We have got the XPath with us. All we need to do is that try performing any operation. So I'll try clicking on it, right? Now let us just run this code and let's see what happens, right? Whether we are able to deal with the element or not, right? Okay, one thing, I've made a mistake. I'm trying to click here. Let's see what happens. If you notice something, I'm trying to click on this element. It already allows me to click on it, but nothing would happen, right? This is what happened over here. Let us just send the data. So send keys. Now send keys would allow us to send the data. So I'll send A, B, C, right? And I'll remove the error. So this is done. Control F11 or the run button. Okay. And here my code is executing. It will take a little bit time. And once it is done executing, we would be able to see that it is able to type and it is able to find that element, right? So yes, the code is able to find that element. Now this was about Facebook, right? Now let us just try other pages as well, right? We have tried XPath on rediff.com. Let us just try XPath on cnn.com. So I would be going to cnn.com. Here on cnn.com, what would be we would be trying out is something. We would be trying to get one of these elements, right? So there is world news, there is US politics, there is business, health, entertainment, style, travel, sports, and videos. I'll randomly choose, say I'll go with world. Right click, inspect. So over here, it is the element, right? Let us just cross verify that as well. So this is the element world, which has got highlighted as well. Now the question is, how would we be able to get to this? Right click here, go to copy and copy XPath. Let us just try this XPath. If you notice something, it has generated a XPath, but it is not that short the way we used to get in Facebook. So what is the pattern over here, right? What is the trick involved in this? So what happens is that if we notice it clearly, notice this XPath, it contains some information which is ID equals to header nav container, right? This means that it is simply trying to locate an element whose ID is header nav container, right? Now how it is done? We need to get to this particular element. Now this element is inside list item, so it goes one step back. Then it sees there is no ID involved. It goes one step above, right? Again there is no ID involved, so it goes one step above once again. And here it reached. Now in the same way, it will go to the above steps until or unless it reaches this point where it finds the element with its ID, right? So header nav container, so it will be going to this particular part, right? Now if we notice something, say over here, it has generated the XPath relative to this particular element. Ignore this element right now, so ignore this particular part right now. The remaining part is div, 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 then say 1 2 3 4, then nav, right, then ul, then li, nav ul li, and then anchor. So what it does, it simply looks up for the element which has the id say attribute, right, and it generates the XPath accordingly, right. What I'll do is I'll try clicking on this, or I'll try locating this element in the code. It will be able to, right. Now this means that whenever we are using a XPath generated by the browser, it will always generate the XPath with one thing only, and that one thing is with the help of ID. If there is ID, it will be giving you the partial XPath, otherwise it will give complete XPath, right. How? Let us just see that. So over here on this page rediff.com, right, and we go to the login page, and here on this login page I would like to analyze this rediff.com link. Inspect it. Here you would notice that this is the element which does not have its ID here. I'll right click. Notice one thing, I'm going to copy XPath. I'm not copying full XPath. I just copied XPath. I'll hit Ctrl F and paste this. You would notice that this is the complete XPath, right? This means that either there should be ID of the ID attribute, else you'll get the complete XPath always, right? But the question is this the only way of getting XPaths, or say are these the only two types of XPaths which exist? No, right? Whenever it comes to partial XPath, we can have our own custom XPath as well, right? So what is custom XPath then? Now custom XPath means that, see, browser is only allowing us ID. Custom XPath allows us name, class, text as well, right? So how it does, and say how would we be able to work with it? First, let us just understand the partial XPath in a detail now, right? So we have one partial XPath over here which we generated earlier. I'll use this particular XPath. It is the best example for understanding things right now. So over here, this is the XPath that we have. Let me just make the text enough big so that you guys can see different things here. And say first thing, what are these double forward slashes, right? Then say other things, right? First about double forward slashes. What does this mean? This simply means that any part of the tree structure. Then what is the tree structure? So it's better if I specify HTML tree structure. See over here in the developer tools, this is the HTML page. This is a tree structure. HTML has two branches, head and body. Then body has multiple branches, div and say script. So we will be going to the div branch. Then there are multiple branches, so we will be choosing the branch accordingly, right? So over here, any part of that tree structure, this means that we have to find the element, right, whose tag name, right, is, now what is the tag name? Notice it here now. The tag name is star. What is star then? Star means that any matching element, right? So over here, any matching element, right? But the main thing now, say this thing. What is this? This is something that we need to deal with now. This means that this has the information. Any locating strategy, right? Strategy, we discussed about it earlier as well, by, right? But over here for XPath, right? This is something which would allow us to find the element. For example, @ means attribute name, right? This means that say @ID, right, as you can see on the screen, or @name, or @class, right? Right? So we can have any attribute that we can see on the page, right? On the HTML structure, I am able to see some attributes, right? Class, 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 right? So this is the attribute that we can use, but not all attributes we can use, right? Say for example, if I try this data grcs loaded, it may not work. So make sure that you use one of these attributes, that is, say class, name, or ID, then the corresponding value equals to the value that you would want to provide, all in a square bracket, right? Now this means that it would be finding the element accordingly. Now this also means that I can have the XPath of this anchor tag generated without depending on the ID tag, but I need to generate it myself, right? Let us just generate it. /. Now to get to this particular anchor tag, we have the F12 class as well. So /A, right? And then square brackets @class equals to F12. And you would notice there is only one element now. If I remove this part, you would notice that there are 101 elements who have the class F12. So let us just have the value F12, and we would get only one element now. This is the element that we can deal with, and here we can use it, right, instead of getting the full XPath. Now I have generated a custom XPath. This means that I can specify more specific information instead of going with the star. Star means any element name, but I don't want, I just want anchor tag, right? Maybe there is an element with the class name F12 which is not an anchor tag, then it would be confusing my XPath to locate the element. So I don't want any kind of confusions, so we can simply specify more specific information, right? So this type of XPath is, say, custom XPath, right? There are other types of custom XPaths as well, we would be discussing time to time. Now over here, going back to CNN, and let us just analyze this element, right? This means that for this element we can have the XPath generated. Notice something, there is a name world. Can we use it? Yes. How? Let us just generate the XPath, right? So over here, /A, then square brackets @name equals to world, and it's done. You would notice that we have found the element, right? The element got highlighted. I'll just go and copy this XPath, and I can try running this XPath, right? So over here I'll say comment out these two lines, and we'll have the code, say driver dot get and the URL, so that is https www.cnn.com, right? So we have got to this particular page. Now driver dot find element by XPath What is the XPath? The expression is this that we have copied, and here dot click. Okay, now let's see what happens. I'll run this code. It will take a little bit time, and once the execution is done, we would be able to see the thing that we wanted to. Okay, so it is executing. It will be taking a little bit time, and here you can see that this is done. So I hope so it takes us to world, or it may be failing. We will get to know about this in some time once the page load is complete, right? We need to wait for the page to be loaded completely. And here we have got to the world page, right? This means that this is what we wanted to do, and this is what we are able to achieve as well, right? So over here, let us just close this. Now in this lecture, what we learned about that how we can generate a XPath and how XPath works. But over here, the question is, can two elements have same XPath? Right? Can anyone answer this question? Yeah.
Yes.
Two or more elements can share the same XPath, right? Now this also means that a single element can have multiple XPaths as well. We already generated multiple XPaths for the same element. If you notice it over here, this was the XPath I generated for forgot password, right? Then over here, okay, I did not generate the password, say XPath for forgot password, but yes, I did generate for this link, right? This is the first XPath, and for the same link, this was the second XPath. So we can have multiple XPaths for a single element, and for the same XPath can point to multiple elements as well, right? So going back to the page, analyze this page, and what if I specify something like this? Simply double/A. You would notice that 115 XPaths are here, right? 115 elements are here. For the same XPath, we have multiple elements, right? If I specify more specific information, for example, say @class equals to F12. You may not have noticed, but if you notice it, we had, say, okay, we have one element over here, but if I go to CNN and if I analyze this here, you would notice that name world is the element, right? There are three different elements, anchor tags with the same name, right? First one is this, second one is this, and third one is this, right? So there are three different locations. Let us just see them on the page if we are able to see them. Let us just see that. So over here, the pages are side by side. We have this particular first one, second one, and third one. The thing is that none of them are visible here right now. First one is this. You can see one of the say XPaths here, world, right? Next one is not visible. Third one is here. So two of them are here inside this menu, right? You might be able to see the second one here. And if we say open the full page, and if I analyze the page here, just a second, it is a bit bigger window. I am not able to see it right now. So let us just go back to the bottom part, right? And here I'll go the first one. See the first one. So all three elements exist on the page, but the thing is that they have different locations. So by default, what it does is it retrieves the first one only, right? But how to deal with others, we would be dealing it in dealing with them in the next lecture, right? How we can have the second one or the third one, right? And how we can simply specify that more detailed information. Right now we tried about the another attribute, that is name. We can have class here as well. I want you guys to try the class attribute, and I want you guys to try the ID attribute as well. Try providing the attribute, and in case if you are not getting the element with the same, right? For example, for this it was not working for us, then what you can do is you can try out other things as well, right? For example, the first one was this one. This is what we wanted to access, but we were getting 3 results, right? In that case, you can try generating something which gives you more detailed information, right? I can try data role, right? So if I try data role, say /nav, then square bracket data role equals to, what is the data role value? The data role value is nav hyphen links. So nav hyphen links, and here if we notice something, it is able to find the element with the attribute data role. So it is not mandatory that all attributes would work or none of the attributes would work. It is just a simple thing that shorter attributes work easily with this, right? Now over here we have got the nav, then we can get to the anchor tag as well. So ul, then / list item, let us just go with the first one, then anchor tag. Now with the same pattern, there are 4 different elements as well. This means that again it did not work for us, right? So over here the page is getting refreshed. Let us just wait for this. I wish I disabled refresh. And here the page is still loading. You can see that there are 4 elements, right? Now the thing is, we did not want all these 4 elements, right? So how would we be able to manage this? We can try out more combinations as well. In the next lecture, we would be dealing with more different types of XPaths that we can generate, and more detailed way how we can make use of the things, right? In the meantime, I want you guys to practice XPaths in a different way so that you get a XPath which is more stable than, say, other XPaths that we get from the browsers itself, right? So this was for this lecture. If you have any queries, you can feel free to ask. Any queries, guys? Yeah, hello.
Hi. So if we want to check any element from the drop down, then what should be the
For
way?
drop down, we would be coming to that as well. You can try clicking on the drop down button first, and then you can try clicking on the element. For example, addition, right? You can click on addition, and then you can click
Okay.
on international, US, Arabic, Espanol, right? So you can choose the things over here. There is a problem with some specific websites that we would be covering as well, that how we can resolve the issues over there. But wherever you can click on the element and the menu expands, you can simply say locate the element, expand it, and then click on the element that you would want to. If you try it directly, it won't be clicked, but you need to expand it first, right? Yeah.
Okay. And similar for the search option as well, the one which is right to
Yeah, you
that
can click
edition.
here as well. See, if you click on search, the search panel opens where you can type things. So you want to type here, first click on search, then the element would become available to you, then you can type. Okay? Yeah,
Okay. So initially I need to provide the XPath
right,
for that search, right?
right,
And then
right,
click.
exactly. So you
Okay.
need to locate the element first which needs to be clicked, then you can say work on the next element which is hidden inside. Okay, but there are some
Okay.
websites where we move the mouse cursor over, that we won't be able to automate right now. We would be discussing about it, how we can work with those things. Okay,
Okay.
try it yourself, try coming up with different ideas, right? Now let us just have an assignment as well. We discussed say different things. Now what I want you guys to do is go to Facebook, log in to your account, right? Once you're logged in, let me just go to this page, right? Once you're logged in, here, go to your profile, right? So click here, and here, then after going to your profile, what you have to do is that go to your friends, then in the ending, try providing friend name here. For example, I'll try Gaurav. Right, so there would be few Gauravs over here in my account. You can see that all the Gauravs are highlighted over here, right? So try searching for your friend here. Okay, so the flow is very simple. The flow is, say Facebook, then login, then say profile, then friends, then search a friend, right? So try this yourself, and we'll be discussing about this in the next lecture, how we can do the whole thing. Okay, thank you. Any other queries?